Good morning to everybody. Willie here at the Great Outdoors, coming to you live from Interstate 64, where it's sunny and 28 degrees. Woo! What are we doing today, you might ask? Go ahead. Oh, we are actually going to hit a lot of antique stores today. We are on a journey. We're on a mission. We're on an adventure. We are heading to Staunton, Virginia, Verona, Virginia, Waynesboro, Virginia, and any other little towns around that area that are about a 3-hour journey from here. That's right, one way. One way. So in other words, we're going to put a lot of miles down today, and I am in the big truck, and the big truck gets terrible gas mileage, so I'm going to spend a lot of money today just on gasoline. Well, as we recall, the whole reason that we started to build Burt was for these types of journey. We all know where that went, but hey, regardless, I'm not letting this hold me back. I'm on vacation. It's the Thanksgiving weekend. Today is December 1st. Where does the time go? Seems like just yesterday I don't even want to get into it, but it does just seem like it was yesterday. And at my age, it could have been yesterday. I just don't remember. Anyway, we're going to hit a whole lot of antique stores today in that western part of Virginia, and cross our fingers and hope we can come up with something that's just cool, because I've hit everything around here in my local area and I can't find anything, unless I'm looking for some form of Zebco 404 33 or some kind of big Mitchell saltwater reel, or a big boat bait casting trolling reel kind of thing. Plenty of that around here. Hey, if any of y'all are looking for those, let me know. But if I see one more plastic 404 Zebco, I'm going to lose my mind. And I'm walking the fence on that pretty much every day as it is. Anyway, we're on the interstate. Won't bore you with that, because it's going to be 173 miles of interstate. Just driving straight. Straight down the interstate. Should probably stop and get some coffee. And at least the back part of my seat, heat warming seat, works. Bottom half doesn't, but the back does. I really would have preferred that the bottom did, because that's the part that usually takes the grunt of the cold. I can lean forward, but I can't hover above the seat, as far as you know. I love that view. Ever since I was a kid, I always loved that view. That always told me that I was getting close to home. At least what I call home. To me, it's so strange that you can grow up in an area, that you can be born and raised in an area that you really never called home. It's really just a place you lived. Not really home. But when we were coming down this interstate, my mom and I, or my dad, or whoever, and we saw that view, those mountains, over top of everything else, over those trees, there ain't words. Age and progress are two funny things. When you haven't been somewhere for a long time and you go that way, like our journey today, you start seeing things in spots where there didn't used to be things. Open fields used to be open fields and with cattle and things like that. Now they're housing developments. Or what used to be the little mom and pop drugstore, now it's a Starbucks. It's one of the keys to getting old, they say, or at least one of the symptoms of getting old, is remembering where things didn't used to be and telling people about it. I can't take credit for that one. There was some comedian that brought that up, I remember years ago. But we're almost to the first antique store. I'll see you when we get there. Okay, we are at our first spot, which is Verona Antiques. They are open. I'm going in. Don't know that I'm taking the camera. A lot of these places, they really don't like you filming inside. Some do, some don't. Some of them I've explained that I have a YouTube channel and their name will be out there, but it's something about the prices or something that they don't want people to see. Don't ask me why, I don't know. I guess they want that to be a surprise to whoever shows up. You got me, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going inside. I'll be right back. If I find anything, of course you'll know. Okay, that place was the kind of place when you go into a place, that's the way you want to see that place look. You got to look close on some of these shelves because some of these places are so cluttered that you got to really look very closely and look around behind and move things. Got that. Okay, this is a South Bend. This is not a Shakespeare, though it is made by Shakespeare. It is a South Bend, missing a couple things. It's basically a lot like I think a 1756 or the 1810 where you would have had a reverse to keep you from, or not a reverse, but a switch to keep you from accidentally releasing this line. They call this a Spincast number 1500, made in the USA, model A. Now, I don't know how Shakespeare did their numbers and stuff for South Bend. The foot is broken. So the body of this thing is useless. But the cap is in really good shape, no dents whatsoever. You have 6 screws, okay? The acorn nut, the gearing, which I don't know anything about, it does not move. It is completely seized up, and I'm not going to try to move it. Same with this crank arm. If I try to move that, it's going to break. Even though it's in one piece, if I try to twist that, it's going to break. So I'll put that in some hot water, see if I can't get that thing to work. The cap does come off, and it has this style here, I guess you'd say, of rotor, which is in other reels, so other Shakespeare reels. It was $5. Just the parts alone, the 6 screws, acorn nuts, the gearing, if it's in any kind of shape, this cap that's in really good shape, that's worth $5 to me, because I can take that thing and use it on something else if I find another one somewhere down the line that needs something. Unfortunately, I see this a lot. The broken foot. I mean a lot. See that a whole lot. So anyway, the parts are worth the $5 to me. A little education for you there. Remember, you always need parts. Okay, I'm kind of at the next place. You're in a small town, so most everything you got to do is you have to park on the main street. Well, of course, I'm driving a land yacht. This would be like trying to parallel park the Edmund Fitzgerald, on a street out here, and it's just not going to work. So I've got to walk quite a ways, and I'm hoping that I'm okay where I'm parked at, because it says no parking December 2nd after 5. Well, today's only December 1st, as far as I know. Okay, I'm back. So that store. There are some stores that you're going to go in that when they say antique store, there's antiques, but there's also a lot of new stuff that you could find in any touristy spot, in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, or Nags Head, North Carolina, or things like that. And then there's stuff that they've got mixed in with their antiques. Like I looked at a hat, for example. There was a felt or wool style floppy hat that you could buy basically at Bass Pro Shops for $29. Well, they had it in there for $60. So those are the things you have to look out for. I kind of knew what I was in for when I walked in the doors, because the first fishing reel that I found was a Mitchell 300 on a child's Zebco rod. The reel was average at best, nothing great about it, and the rod was probably a $5 rod, and they had $49.95 on it. So I automatically knew what to expect throughout the rest of the store. So anyway, we're going to move on to the next one, which is, let's see, what was that we just went to? This was the Staunton Antique Center. And sadly, there's a place across the street from it that's in an old hardware store that's loaded, absolutely loaded with all kinds of off-the-wall vintage things, but they're closed. Let's cross our fingers and hope that I haven't spent $65 in gas and all day away from my family just to come home with one $5 broken South Bend reel. I love these little towns with their little 40-mile-an-hour speed limits and volunteer fire departments, mountains in the background. I could very easily live in a place like this. Very.
At the light, turn right onto Laurel Hill Road.
It just interrupts all the time. There's a Burger King, but last time I ate at a Burger King, I had to take 3 days off from work. Okay, I just spent the better part of 2.5 hours walking around inside there. They've even added more vendors than they had before. Now, did I find anything? It's snowing. Pretty sure I just saw snow. 2.5 hours I just spent walking around in there. Did I find anything I liked? Yes, I did. I found a couple of things, but they're all overpriced. I found another Abimatic 170 that I would have bought, but it's missing parts, and they still wanted $30 for it. So I'm not doing that. When they're missing parts like that, unless you get it for a really good price, I would suggest take it out of the cabinet, really look at it good, ask them to let you take the cap off, look at the stuff, because you don't know what's happened in there. You don't know who's been in it, why those parts are missing. One of the parts that's missing, again, is the dust cap on the side. If that dust cap is missing, that means the entire crank lever had to be taken apart, which doesn't even make sense as to why you would do that, because that dust cap and crank lever don't need to come apart really to be cleaned. It was also missing the little set cap nut on the end that goes over top of the drag, past the drag star. That was missing. So, you know, I would just as soon call Matt's Reel Repair and buy another reel from him as to spend $30 on one that's just, maybe it's okay, and I end up having to buy parts anyway from Matt to fix it. So, not doing that. There was a couple of other things. Your typical Mitchells, they were everywhere. But there was one reel that caught my eye that I really, really wanted. It is a Penn. That's right, I know. You don't hear me say that very often. It is a Penn Ultralight 716. They're old. They're a weird green and white. They're very small. And I've wanted one for a long time. The one they had in there was $65. Now, I looked these things up. Some of them are selling for crazy money. But today being Sunday, I wasn't able to call Matt and really find out anything. Plus, the drag nut on the top is a white plastic, and it was broken. And it is snowing. So anyway, I would like to have been able to call Matt and say, hey, you know, can this be gotten? I'm sure it probably can. Very popular reel, so I'm sure the part can probably be gotten. If it turns out, after I talk to Matt, that the reel is worthy, I'll make the drive back up here and come get it. But right now, as far as what left the building, well, I'm going to show you this. I don't even know why I got it, but I felt sorry for it, I guess. A Garcia Mitchell 304. Oh, it's loud. too bad though. Everything's working. It's growly. I'm not going to say it ain't. But everything's there. Seems to be working. It was $9. So I picked it up. Nothing better, have some decent parts. And you never know. It could be a Christmas gift. So anyway, I got that. And something that has nothing to do with fishing. I know it don't look like much right now. But this is a Stetson open road, very nice hat, 3X beaver felt, stilt. And evidently Richard Miller, if you know Richard Miller, he owned it. Whoever Richard Miller is. Stop looking at my hair. So anyway, I got that. I'm going to take that home and reshape it. Maybe you'll see part of that. I've went to 3 different places and I've driven quite a few distances here. Quite a bit of a distance, actually. The thing to remember here is you don't always find something. So you take the chance no matter what you do. But we went to 2 places we've never been, and we went to this, the factory antique mall. So regardless, we bought a couple things, and we had a good day out. So I'm going to fill this beast up. It says I can go 166 miles, but I don't really trust it. Anyway, let's get on the road, get some gas. It's extremely cold. It's snowing, by the way. Did I mention that? I do not know why I live where I do. I should live here. It doesn't even make sense. It just doesn't make sense. Good morning, everyone. And when I say good morning, I mean a good cold morning. It is actually 31 degrees and it feels like it's 21, according to the weather. And after stepping out into the garage, well, I believe them. Yesterday, we did a lot of driving. Put about 320 miles on the truck yesterday driving around. We went all through Staunton, Virginia, Verona, Virginia, all up in the mountains, Afton. I know you don't know any of these places, but if you look them up, you'll see where we were. We went to several antique stores, 2 of which I've never been in, 1 of which I have several times actually. And we did find a couple things, but when you take those trips, you have to be willing to tell yourself that, and you have to be willing to accept, you may not find anything. You always need parts. What we're going to look at is this 304. Now I know y'all have seen me take a 304 apart before. But what I wanted to do, because I've been asked about this before, is how do I clean these things? And I'm going to show you that. I'll show you what I do it with really fast here. I go to Harbor Freight and I get these. These things are extremely helpful. I also have the metal versions in brass, and I believe it's a steel. I don't think it's stainless. Stainless steel. Okay, so brass and stainless steel tube cleaners. I use these too. Don't use the stainless ones very often, but the brass ones, I will run the brass sizes in and out of the pinion shaft housing, crankshaft, anything that I can, if there's a hole that one of these fits and I can clean them out really well. I use the brass ones because brass is easy on the other metals and doesn't tear things up. So what we're going to do, I'm going to tear this 304 apart. Don't know that you really want to watch that, but I'm going to do it anyway, and we'll get this thing cleaned up and working. This one's actually in really good shape, but then we'll go through the cleaning process. I will go into the kitchen and I will probably put you in super fast, super speed motion, and we'll clean this 304 up. And once we get it cleaned, that thing actually works pretty good. Once we get it cleaned up, we'll get it put back together again, and you'll see that process and how I do that. Then we have a little surprise. We're going to take you to Hat Shaping 101 and try to rescue that hat that we bought yesterday and turn it back into something wearable and not something that looks like Otis Campbell from the Andy Griffith Show, you know, the drunk that used to show up and go into the jail and lock himself up. We're going to take it from that look to something respectable and decent to wear out in public. Okay, here's the cleaning station. This is my little kit, I guess you'd say, that I use for cleaning up all that with your basic toothbrush and all of these little tube cleaners that I told you about. The only brush that I really use quite religiously is this one. And it's actually for dishwashing and stuff like that, but I bought it because it has a pretty stiff bristle. And it gets those hard to reach places and takes care of those issues there. But anyway, let's get to cleaning, and I will show you basically how this works. Just a pee-wee, pee-wee. Be careful around these spraying areas in here, because you can pop one of them springs loose and shoot it across the kitchen and not even know it. This is also one of your best friends. SOS. All right, now let's just go through the reproduction process, and I don't feel like it's extremely necessary for you guys to have to go sit through that whole thing. So I'm gonna clean some stuff up. We're gonna put this together, and it's gonna be, again, super fast. And another 304 shall be born. Doing the thing. So there you got to see my entire process, and I'm gonna tell you, it's time consuming. Say we started at 6 this morning, a little bit after 6, 10 after 6, and it's 20 after 8. So these 30-minute videos that you see of me, cleaning a reel, I guess in real time, you're looking at hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how badly the reel is. What kind of shape is it actually in? Because a lot of these things, man, they just are not really clean. They're nasty, and it takes a while to clean them up. This one turned out really, really well. But there you go, another Mitchell 304, back from the dead. And pretty darn gorgeous, I must say. Really hardly any gear growl at all. The gears had no wear on them whatsoever. I don't know what more you could ask for. We're not only going to bring this reel back from the dead, we're going to bring that old hat back from the dead back there. Gotta get ready. So when it comes to messing with these old hats like this, the first thing I suggest before you shape it, before you steam it, get a brush and get all the loose dust and dirt and anything that you can off of it. Now, they make brushes specifically for hats. However, I suggest you get 2 brushes, one light colored brush with a light colored bristle for lighter hats and one dark colored one. Somewhere through the years, I don't know how, my light colored brush disappeared. We have no idea where. I've looked all over the place. These were always kept together in the same drawer, but for some reason, the light colored one is gone. So when you're stuck in this position, make sure you clean out the dark brush. Just basically because you can wipe anything from the darker brush into lighter hat, or you can take anything from the lighter hat into the darker hat, changing the color of the hat slightly, and then you have to dust it all off again with something else the right way. You get what I'm saying. Now this hat's got some sweat stains and things like that. Again, it's a Stetson open road. Now if you're familiar with the open road, the brim is supposed to look like, you remember Smokey and the Bandit? Okay, Sheriff Buford T. Justice. Look at his hat. That is an open road. That's the way it's supposed to look. Really cool hat. Obviously in a silver belly color, but I'm gonna brush it off real good. We're gonna go in there and get some water steaming and try to get this guy back. It's all about resurrection, I guess you'd say today, or the last couple days anyway. So I'm gonna get this thing dusted off. Make sure that there's no dark colors going into it. I don't know if you can see the dust coming off of this hat, but it's been sitting somewhere for a long time. And you really always want to go in one direction when you clean, when you wipe. Well, I could leave it like that and get that Hoss Cartwright look. Also, when it's like that, it's very Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. Has that kind of look to it. Ow, ow, ow. So obviously the first thing we need to do is get some water boiling. Now, I don't have a fancy schmancy actually hat steamer kind of thing. Would love to have one, but don't have one. Where I learned to do this, they used to have one and then they stopped doing it. I went back to get it and they got rid of it. They said the element had gone bad and they just threw it in the trash. So I have to do it like this and just get a pot of boiling water going, and then I kind of crack the lid off just a little bit to get the steam to come up, and sometimes I'll take the lid completely off if I have to. But anyway, let's get this water going here. So there we go. This will be great. This hat will be perfectly fine out there in the summertime, or even, you know, a nice winter day when it's sunny outside. As we know, as we get older, things like skin cancer and things like that show up. I've had several, more than several, cut off of me. Nose, ears, face, neck, arms. So I wear a lot of this stuff. Keep my ears hidden. All those pieces that stick off my face that I really want to hold on to as long as I can. But there you go. The Stetson Open Road from however old it is, owned by Richard Miller, whoever Richard Miller was. Richard probably not around any longer, but if he is, thank you. If he's not, thank you. I will take care of your hat, I promise. And so you got to see, this was a 2-day adventure. A lot of miles on the truck, a lot of driving, and what you guys will see in 30 minutes has taken almost 48 hours in a roundabout sort of way, aside from sleeping, to rebuild a Mitchell 304, get it cleaned up and working again, to revive a hat from however long back it goes. I'm not sure. But that's kind of what happens around here. We try to revive, we try to recycle, we try to bring things back to life. And Give them purpose again. Sometimes it doesn't always work. With a fishing reel, with a car, whatever, it doesn't always work. But for the most part, when it does, you have something really cool to show for it. Thank you guys for going along with me on this adventure. I very much appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. It is December 2nd. I'll be seeing you again before Christmas, I'm sure. We'll see you on the next one. Whatever the next one may be. You just don't know. You really don't. Most of the time when I leave the house, I have no idea what the next one's going to be.